Jayden Daniels has now amassed over 1,100 passing yards, 300 rushing yards in his career. Really just one of 3 key rookies we have seen turn things on its head going into this season. We saw a historic 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round. And at this point, those 3 are the ones leading the charge. But it kind of got us thinking here, are these teams, the Washington Commanders and Jayden Daniels, Bo Nix even, are they contenders or are they pretenders as we go into week 6 of the NFL season? That's where we pick up the conversation here back on set. Lee J, I want to start with Jayden Daniels and just the historic trajectory that he's on. He's doing things that we haven't seen out of a quarterback, but are they legit contenders, even with, the stigma that comes with the Commanders and where they've been in recent years? Are they a contender?
Absolutely, Haley. With Jayden Daniels at quarterback, the Washington Commanders are true contenders, not only to win the NFC East, but potentially go far in the playoffs. When you look at this team and what Jayden Daniels has done, if the season ended right now, DK, he'd be my front runner for MVP. Like, that's how valuable he is to the Washington Commanders team. Before this last game versus the Browns, he was completing 84% of his passes. DK, for the people that don't know, that's astronomical for not only a quarterback, but a rookie quarterback to be making the plays that he makes. Right here, DK, this is where he struggled in week 1 and 2. When he got outside the pocket, he would just run. Now he's finding Terry McLaurin down the field. So that's another added element to this offense. The Browns took away a lot of his quick game this game, and this is exactly what he did. He ran the football. He led this team in rushing yards. So when you talk about most valuable, right, when you can't affect the game one way, can you affect it another? That's what Jayden Daniels does. And one thing that people aren't talking about, DK, is this defense has been terrible the last couple of years. But they played really well the last couple of weeks with Dan Quinn. You knew it would take some time for the acclimation period. They've only given up 27 points the last 2 weeks. And besides that Bengals game, which the Bengals have one of the most explosive offenses in football, going back to that Giants game, only 18 points there. So this defense plays really well. Jayden Daniels was on the bench in this game versus the Browns with 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. That's how good this team is playing right now. So they are absolutely contenders right now.
I'm with you. I think it's maybe the story of the NFL right now. When Dan Quinn was hired, do you remember the reaction? It was like, no one was excited. It was like a C grade. This is a coach who's been to a Super Bowl. He brings in a defensive mindset. Then you pair it with Cliff Kingsbury, you can hand over the offense to, who's already had a ton of success with Kyler Murray. Maybe Cliff Kingsbury is the perfect spot as an offensive coordinator. Maybe he's not the best head coach, but he's thriving in this role in which he's good. And you put up something great about not only the defense playing outstanding, Jayden Daniels completing those passes, having 84% and still having an incredibly high completion percentage. It is not like he's dinking and dunking the ball down the field, because sometimes those completion percentages can be misleading. He is still hitting big plays. You're not giving up anything in the big play pass game just to make sure you have completion percentage. They are absolutely a contender. And I also think the division they're in helps tremendously because they're sitting at the top of it. The Cowboys, I do think, we're going to talk about them in a little bit, but I think the Eagles are a mess. And the Giants are an afterthought. So, this is a 2-team race, and I still think no matter what happens, if they win the division or not, at the very least, they're getting to the playoffs.
Correct.
Daniels looks like the offensive rookie of the year, but Caleb Williams is starting to take some big steps for the Chicago Bears as well. They're above 500 now at 3-2. They've won 8 straight home games, which is the longest streak in the NFL. And finally, Lige, he was throwing the ball down the field, 4 for 4 on 15-plus air yards. Bears pretender or contender?
Probably don't want to hear this, Haas, but I'm going to say pretender. I think the Bears are still a year away. And to your point, I love what I've saw from Caleb Williams, more specifically the last 2 weeks. I was concerned in the beginning of the year that he was just evading the pocket when he didn't need to. He was taking some ugly hits because his offensive line wasn't protecting. But DK, the last 2 weeks, he's really stood in the pocket and made some plays down the field. And to your point, Haas, he's found his #1 receiver, DJ Moore. There's a reason why they gave this guy an extension. If you're Caleb Williams, lean on that guy, and they were able to do that. Obviously, DJ Moore was excited playing his old team versus the Panthers this last week, went over 100 yards, had a touchdown catch the week before. But I really love the progression that I've seen from Caleb Williams from within the pocket. I just think when you look at the Chicago Bears, they're in a gauntlet of a division. Everybody in the NFC North right now is above 500. I think it's just going to be a tall task for them to make the playoffs this year.
I took a lot of notes today. Do you see what that says right there? Tough division.
That's next level.
But it doesn't matter. They're still a contender. So here's the thing, and this should be normal. Like what Jayden Daniels is doing is not normal.
It's not.
What Caleb Williams is doing is more normal because he starts a little bit slow, but every time out he looks more and more comfortable and confident in that system. Eliminating eliminating some of the boneheaded throws as he's learning what throws can I make, what throws can I not make, when to scramble, when not to scramble. That is a process that takes time, and I'm sure there will be a little bit more of those, but the fact that he's eliminated some of those mistakes early, here's why I think they're a contender, because yes, we're enthralled with Caleb Williams and the success he's had. Top 5 scoring defense on the other side of the ball.
Really good.
So that's what gives me some hope. There's also Minnesota's been a great story. We were talking about this a little bit before.
Yeah.
How long can that Cinderella story with Sam Darnold, how long can it last? So I think in the Detroit Lions, I think they're beatable. Everyone in this division is going to be competitive. I think the Chicago Bears will be a contender till late in the season and maybe even emerge as a playoff team.
Well, what was the theme that we talked about when the season started, right? Is that Caleb Williams is being put in the best situation that we, have seen a rookie be put in. So I hope that they are contenders and everything around them. Yeah. This next team is always a contender in my heart, guys. You know where we're going next. We're talking about the Dallas Cowboys. I was genuinely shocked, and don't get me wrong, I love my boys. I root for them every week, but I was shocked that they won that game yesterday, especially with the rain delay, the messy play from Dak. But Chris, I'm sorry, you're Chris. I just looked at you. Danny, we were talking before we came down here, Ray, just about Dak and some of the stuff that he has to do behind the scenes, given all of the Cowboys situations around him, if you will. What impressed you about Dak's ability to get that win done yesterday, and are they contenders or pretenders?
They absolutely are contenders. This is a team which in back-to-back regular seasons has been really good, and I think that kind of contributes to where the expectation is off the charts. They may not be 12-5 again, but I think they'll be good enough to compete in this division. We were just talking about the Washington Commanders, how down the division is. I do not trust Philly. I don't trust the Giants. I do trust Dak. Dak is one of the most underappreciated quarterbacks in the entire NFL, and in large part it's because of the star that he wears on the side of his helmet. It's the most scrutinized position in the sport, and all he does is go out there and lets every bit of criticism roll off him. He's got thick skin, which you have to have playing here, and oh, by the way, he's second in the NFL right now in passing yards. I think he'll be okay when it's all said and done. But here's the thing. We've already seen this from the Dallas Cowboys before, regular season success. Dak will not be judged on whether they win the division or they're a wild card team. He's going to be judged on playoff success, which he's still looking for.
For everybody that doesn't know, DK picked Dallas to go to the Super Bowl.
That's right.
I just want to preface that before I say
what I'm not backing off.
I know this is going to hurt you, Haley, but they're pretenders, right? I mean, when you just look at this team, you said it yourself, like you couldn't believe they came away with that victory the other day. When you look at the injuries, and then you look on the offensive side of the ball, right, they have an issue at the running back position. CD and Dak seem to not be on the same page, right? I don't know if people can read lips, right? There was a vivid video out there of CD talking to Dak after that interception in the red zone. And again, I'll let you go to the internet and see what it says. He just said subpar throw. Subpar throw, blink, blink. All right, is what he said. So that's been an issue with this team. Dak and CD now on the same page. Some of these interceptions Dak has thrown. And then the offensive line has always been a strong suit for the Dallas Cowboys, and that's an issue for them this year, right? We saw Tyler Guyton get banged up, and he left the game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then they move their all-pro guard, Tyler Smith, to tackle. And that's a hard thing to do because he's been taking all the snaps at guard, not tackle, so he struggled a little bit in the game, and it'll be interesting to see what they do going forward because Tyler Guyton has struggled, so I would not be surprised maybe they keep Smith out there. And then all the injuries on defense. Now, I love what I saw from the Dallas defense. Me and you've talked about DeMario Overshown has been amazing at linebacker for them. But I just think with the injuries to Micah Parsons, Lawrence on the outside, Bland being gone, and then Noah, our producer, can you put up the schedule for me one more time? Because this Cowboys team, they have a gauntlet coming up. Look, they go versus the Detroit Lions. At home. Then at the 49ers, which we know Dak has had trouble beating them. Then they go to Kirk Cochains and the Falcons, who are starting to get their rhythm as well. Eagles, that's always tough for the divisional game. C.J. Stroud's a killer. They play the Texans. And then the Commanders are the best team in the NFC East right now. So that's a gauntlet of a schedule coming up. So I just think right now the Cowboys are pretenders just because there's been too much overturn on that team. Dak and CD now on the same page and too much injuries on the defensive side.
See, this is what happens if you wear the star on your helmet. Did they win or lose last night?
They won.
It feels like they lost.
They won again.
Like it,
That's
what I think contenders do is they win ugly. They figure out a way.
See, and to think a couple months ago, we were on the same page when it came to Cowboys and you were my ally.
Oh, no, I still got a lot of love for Dak and Coach McCarthy. I just think the way that the team is constructed is going to be a struggle for them.
Well, let's flip it on Lige because the Cowboys team close to your heart. heart, Haley, but let's go to the team close to his heart. The worst record, the Jets.
I knew this was coming.
Jets. They were the favorites to win that division going into the season. And right now, you look at what they've done through 5 games. It's basically the exact thing they did last year through 5 games. 2-3 overall, 93 points scored with Zach Wilson a year ago.
Correct. They're pretenders right now. I know that that's a team that's close and near and dear to my heart, but Jet Nation knows I'm real. I'm going to keep it real. They're pretenders, right? The defense is still playing at championship level, but the offense has been abysmal. When you look at them and the non-factor in the run game, like I thought with this revamped offensive line, they'd run a little better. I don't understand what they're being coached, because when you look at tape, DK, the angles that the offensive line are taking to get to the defensive line and to the linebackers, it's god-awful. Literally, like, it's like they're so worried about being physical that they missed the guy right in front of them, and Breece Hall and Braylon Allen can't get going. And then when you have a linebacker like Quincy Williams comes out, who was an All-Pro last year, and says, I'm tired of saying the same thing every week. The accountability factor needs to start at the top and come down. Like, that's the one thing you worry about with a team, right? When there's dissension, when one group is playing really well and the other isn't. Now that side, the defensive side is like, this is the same thing we went through last year with Zach Wilson. We thought Aaron Rodgers was supposed to fix these issues. And Aaron Rodgers did not play well on Sunday. I know, he said, I could have played better. No, you did not play well on Sunday. Like, there's no excuses for some of those interceptions. You know with Brian Flores, he's going to give you one look and change it post-snap. Pick 6 to Van Ginkel, and then the next interception, DK, was uncalled for. He just sailed the football. And then with the game on the line, after all that, they still had an opportunity to win the game. On a back shoulder fade, he throws the ball inside against Stephon Gilmore, who is the best closer in the game. So until this offense fixes things, they're pretenders right now.